The camera industry is about to witness a shift so massive that it might actually make medium format obsolete. For years, we've been told that you have to choose between resolution and speed. You either get the detail of an R series or the raw power of an Alpha 1. But what if I told you that in 2026, Sony is planning to delete that compromise entirely? Welcome back to TechVibe, where today, we are breaking down the official leaked roadmap for the most anticipated high-resolution monster of the decade, the Sony A7R VI. We're talking about an 80.2 megapixel stack sensor, AI-driven skeletal prediction that sees movement before it happens, and a video spec sheet that finally gives high-res shooters the cinema tools they've been begging for. If you are holding onto an A7R IV or V, or even considering the new Alpha 1 Mark II, you need to stop everything. Because the A7R VI isn't just an upgrade, it is a total takeover. Stick with me until the end of this video, because I'm revealing a secret feature Sony borrowed from its high-end Venice cinema line that has never been seen in a mirrorless body until now. Let's get straight to the heart of the beast, the sensor. For over a decade, the 61 megapixel sensor in the A7R IV and V was the gold standard. It was beautiful, but it was slow. The rolling shutter was real, and the readout speeds were, frankly, aging. The leaks confirm that the A7R VI is moving to a brand new 80.2 megapixel stacked BSI CMOS sensor. Now, don't let the megapixel jump scare you, this isn't just about bigger files. The stacked architecture is the real story here. This allows the camera to read data at a speed we've only seen in the flagship Alpha 1 or A9 series. This means for the first time ever, you can shoot 80 megapixel files with a near-silent electronic shutter and almost zero rolling shutter distortion. Imagine shooting a high-speed bird in flight or a racing car with 80 megapixels of detail and no jello effect on the vertical lines. This is the medium format killer we've been waiting for. It brings the resolution of a Fujifilm GFX 100S2 into a body that can actually keep up with a professional sports photographer. But with 80 megapixels comes a massive problem: data. How do you process that much information without the camera turning into a literal heater in your hands? That's where the new BIONZ XR2 processor comes in. This isn't just a slight clock speed boost. According to internal reports, this processor is designed specifically to handle the 10.9K oversampling required for the A7R VI's new video modes. And speaking of video, let's address the elephant in the room. The R series has always been the stills first camera. But in 2026, the lines are blurring. The A7R VI is rumored to feature full-frame, uncropped 8K 30p video. But here's the kicker: it's oversampled from the full 10.9K width of the sensor. The level of detail and sharpness in this 8K footage will likely surpass anything we've seen in the mirrorless world, including the A1 II. And for the slow-motion junkies, we are finally getting 4K 120p with a minimal crop, something that was a major pain point on the previous generation. Now, let's talk about the feature that is going to change how you actually take photos: AI Processing 2.0. We saw the first AI chip in the A7R V, but the Mark VI takes it to a borderline telepathic level. Sony is introducing Skeletal Prediction 2.0. This doesn't just recognize a human eye, it understands the physics of the human body. If a subject is behind a tree or facing away, the camera uses deep learning to predict where their head and eyes will be when they reappear. But it doesn't stop at humans. The leaked specs suggest a new insect and micro-wildlife mode that can track the eyes of creatures as small as a honeybee in real time. For macro photographers, this is a game changer. No more hunting for focus at 1:1 magnification, the AI does the heavy lifting while you focus on the composition. But wait, there is a physical change coming that I know a lot of you have been asking for. Sony has heard the feedback regarding ergonomics. The A7R VI is adopting the deeper, more sculpted grip from the Alpha 1 Mark II, making it much more comfortable for those long 8-hour wedding days or landscape hikes. They've also revamped the cooling system. Even though the body remains compact, there's a new passive thermal dissipation structure under the magnesium alloy shell. This allows for significantly long 8K recording times without the dreaded yellow thermometer icon popping up 10 minutes into your shoot. Let's move on to the pixel shift revolution. On the current A7R V, pixel shift is great, but it requires a tripod and absolutely zero movement in the scene. The A7R VI is rumored to introduce motion-compensated pixel shift. By using the massive processing power of the BIONZ XR2, the camera can now identify moving elements within a 16-shot sequence, like leaves blowing in the wind or water moving in a stream, and intelligently merge them without the ghosting artifacts that ruined previous versions. This means you can finally shoot 320 megapixel composite images in the real world, not just in a lockdown studio. Think about that for a second. 320 megapixels. You could print a billboard and still see the texture of the fabric on a person's shirt. For our professional audience in the US and Europe, we need to talk about workflow. Sony is integrating a dedicated 5G transmitter and Wi-Fi 7 into the A7R VI. This is aimed directly at agency photographers and news shooters who need to deliver files to an editor instantly. With the move to 80 megapixel files, the file sizes are going to be hefty. Wi-Fi 7 allows for wireless transfer speeds that finally make tethered shooting without a cable a viable reality in a busy studio environment. Combined with the dual CF Express Type A/SD 4.0 slots, your data bottleneck is officially gone. Now, before we get to the price and that secret cinema feature I mentioned, we have to talk about the IBIS in-body image stabilization. The A7R V had 8 stops. The A7R VI is pushing that to a world-leading 9.0 stops of stabilization. But it's not just a number. Sony is using a new neural sync system that coordinates the sensor's movement with the AI chip to predict camera shake before it happens. This allows for handheld shots of up to 2 or 3 seconds without a tripod. For landscape photographers who want to travel light, this could mean leaving the tripod in the car for 90% of your shots. So, how much is this going to cost you? Historically, the R series has lived in that $3,500 to $3,900 range. However, with the jump to a stacked sensor, which is significantly more expensive to manufacture, all signs point to a price increase. The expected launch price in the US market is $4,499. While that is a jump, you have to remember what you're getting. You are essentially getting an Alpha 1 speed with double the resolution. In that context, $4,500 starts to look like a bargain for a professional-grade tool. Alright, you've made it this far, so let's talk about that secret feature Sony has pulled from its $50,000 Venice Cinema cameras. It's called Virtual Electronic ND. For the first time in a stills-focused alpha body, Sony is rumored to be testing a built-in electronic variable ND filter system. This isn't a physical piece of glass that slides in. It's a layer on the sensor that can electronically darken the exposure without affecting your shutter speed or aperture. This is the holy grail for hybrid shooters. Imagine being out in the bright midday sun, shooting at f/1.2 for that creamy bokeh, and not having to screw on a physical filter. You just dial it in on the camera. If this makes it to the final production model, it will objectively make the A7R VI the most versatile camera ever made. The Sony A7R VI is shaping up to be the definitive camera of 2026. It's the camera that finally ends the war between the high-res studio photographer and the high-speed action shooter. Whether you're capturing the fine textures of a fashion editorial or the split-second drama of a stadium touchdown, this body is designed to do it all without breaking a sweat. So, the real question is, are you ready for 80 megapixels? Or is your computer's hard drive already sweating just thinking about it? If you found this deep dive helpful, do me a huge favor and hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow and lets me keep bringing you these exclusive leaks. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on all things Sony Alpha and the 2026 tech roadmap, make sure you're subscribed to TechVibe with notifications turned on. We've got a massive comparison coming up next between the A7R VI and the upcoming Canon R5 Mark III, and trust me, you do not want to miss that one. Let me know in the comments, is 80 megapixels the sweet spot for you, or is it total overkill? I'll be down there responding to your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.